If you follow college football, you know that recruiting is going to be crazy in the month of June, and especially underline that in SEC country. Welcome to the Voice of College Football, where we break down the nation, but of course the SEC and the top prospects coming from the SEC footprint. Most of them stay and play in the SEC. We got Blaine Gilmer on the line from Recruiting Every Second. So when you look at that second, it's special because you highlight the SEC in caps. Recruiting Every Second. Blaine's going to join us on a regular basis to break down the SEC and the recruiting stories and narratives in particular. Blaine, how are we doing tonight?
Fantastic, Mark. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to be on here on the Voice of College Football channel and the Voice of College Football SEC channels. Everything that's going on, I'm excited to just talk SEC ball. That's what I love to do. Recruiting, it's a passion of mine to follow, and it's always, it never stops. That's what I like to put on social media a lot of the times. Hashtag recruiting never stops. So
it can't stop or you're going to fall behind. So it definitely does not stop in this conference. And as you can check out on the banner, you can follow Blaine at recruiting_SEC. That's again, Recruiting Every Second, where it counts all the time in the SEC, and it counts for more. And when you go down the list of the top recruits in the nation, almost everyone is considering an SEC school, and typically 2, 3, or 4 of them. We wanted to go down the top 5 right now that are considering SEC schools and look at the recruiting war that we're going to see over the next several weeks. Of course, these guys are going to be visiting most of the campuses that we're going to outline and make their decisions in the next couple months. So, Blaine, going right to the top of the board, we got Walter Nolen, who's the top-rated player in the state of Tennessee. So Tennessee's pumping up their chest a little bit because that doesn't normally happen, where the state of Tennessee is the #1 player in the nation, regardless of your recruiting service. Quinn Ewers, the Ohio State committed quarterback, #1 across the board. But in terms of who has yet to commit, you got Walter Nolen, who's looking at Bama, Florida, LSU in the SEC, Ohio State, and Michigan as well. 6'4", 300. Pretty much he's been labeled as one of those can't-miss guys.
Oh, Walter Nolen is a guy that everybody in the country, like you said, is definitely excited about. Tennessee, man, how big it would be for Josh Heupel to be able to keep a guy like that at home. I think that's a far cry from being even possible. Walter Nolen at this point, I don't think that he's even considering the Volunteers. Alabama looks mighty strong in this. Alabama is just a factory of putting out top level defensive linemen into the NFL, guys who they've just become some of the most respected linemen, respected linebackers, people in that front seven. The NFL says, okay, you can play at Alabama, you can survive Nick Saban's practices, that which you heard like Najee Harris come out this year and say practices at Alabama are harder than the games sometimes. So they're able to, that constant competition and the way that Nick Saban does stuff really, really is a big deal in terms of how they go about, seeing how these players are going to translate to the NFL. And I know Bill Belichick said the same thing about a Georgia program. Well, obviously the Nick Saban's program in Alabama is that way. So Walter Nolen, I think, could end up at Alabama. Of course, Florida is right there as well, but he's definitely a 2-gap type guy, somebody that is huge in these recruiting rankings.
Walter Nolen racked up 92 tackles, and that's as an inside interior player on the defensive front, over 7 tackles per game. So that's some serious stuff, in which he was being double-teamed, triple-teamed all the time. Some scouting services have compared him to Leonard Williams, who's tearing it up in the NFL with the New York Giants, a product out of USC.